Welcome back to Healthwise. With us is Dr. Kerry Thibodeaux with the Wound Care Center. Doc, we were talking about your role as a surgeon. That's always the, I want to say for some people the worst part. Oh no, we talk about the cutting. I guess when it gets to that stage, that's the last point. That's all you can do. What's your role as far as that? And
well, it's interesting you should say that, because actually in modern state-of-the-art wound care, the very first thing you do to almost every wound is a debridement. So that cutting on that wound and removing things that other people were too timid to do is the one advantage of being a surgeon has. And I think it's one of the things that sets us apart, because of the heavy support of the surgeons in the community. It's not just me necessarily, but all the surgeons really play a role in helping with different aspects of wound care, from orthopedic trauma and reconstruction to the spinal procedures that need to be done on some of these patients. And so, but because I'm personally able to care for a lot of these problems, I, as a wound care doctor, don't have to ask somebody else to do something that I know needs to be done. And so that gives us a significant advantage. But probably the biggest aspect of what our program does is it incorporates so many different specialties that bring all their efforts to bear on that one patient's problem. Not only the other members of our wound care team, the other surgeons, the other doctors, the other nurses that work with us, but also within the hospital department itself, the nutrition team, and social services. Some people can't find a ride to get to the wound center to get the wound care that they need, and they don't qualify for, certainly can't bring them by ambulance. And so there's people working behind the scenes that are constantly bringing their efforts to bear on that patient's problem. And the wound is one of the problems, but what does that wound present to the patient as problems? How do they get around at their house? What kind of equipment do they need to stay out of the hospital and stay at home? What kind of accommodations do they need to get back and forth for their care as an outpatient to avoid an inpatient stay? And those who need to be admitted, how can you run them through the system in terms of the inpatient side, LTAC, nursing home placement, SNF beds, all those types of administrative things that are required. And that is one of the expertises that Dr. Hargroder brings to our team, in that he focuses heavily on what he calls administrative medicine. And really, in order to give the patient the chance at the best care they have, someone needs to know how to make it happen in a way that everybody gets paid for, and recognize and identify the patients who are incapable of paying for it or uncovered, and making sure that they get processed and qualified for the things that they need, so that the people providing services can then get paid, so that we can keep taking care of the patients that need our services.
Sure. Well, and you mentioned Dr. Hargroder. I went to school with Dr. Hargroder. That was one of my classmates. And so, we knew he was going to be something great. We didn't know what. We knew he was going to be something
Well, he's been a huge asset, and because I really focus on the medical aspects of it and spend a lot of my time, studying on wound care and traveling around and communicating with experts in the field about their ideas about how to do wound care better. And we even have our own research arm and participate in trials and actually are approached by companies that manufacture wound care products to assist them in evaluating these products. So we are truly on the cutting edge. And since that has been so much of my focus, you have to have a partner who's able to make sure that at the end of the day, everything gets paid for, so that we can continue to pay the best salaries, hire the best people, buy the best equipment, and then and then in that way, then provide even better services for our patients and do an even better job.
And I think he does a great job with that, because, like I said, grew up with Ty. Ty's always been a people person, so that part is just a natural. He's a natural in that, you know. So, Doc, we got to take another break for a commercial, and we'll get in a little bit more about wound care.
All right.